Clear argument.
But like you said, times have changed. My thing is, again, the scarcity of certain resources allowed for the scarcity of great people involved in these fields, such as a producer, is low. Nowadays, bro, like I can imagine like how many engineers there are now, and that's a great thing. Like I love that. But the shit that Mixed by Ali is doing, allowing more, you know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, even from a videographer standpoint, everybody can get a camera now and just shoot a video in 4K. Like, and there's more greatness of that out there. Back then, Hype Williams was directing everything, and did it look the same? Yeah, it did. But it was rare. It was scarce. It was scarce because we didn't have certain resources.
You're arguing this the completely wrong way. Now I really understand.
How though?
How? Because what you're saying.
Okay.
What you're saying is that there's more resources, so that more people can do it.
Yeah.
But that's all just, like I said before, with basketball, it's just progression. It just ups the competition.
Yeah.
So now the people who are great, your Scott Storches now is just like, they're just better than the Scott Storch was.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and now everybody is like exact at that. All
I was saying is that all right, basically it was just less then and it was more. There's more now. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, go with that.
That's all I'm saying. That by saying scarce, I'm just saying there was less then and there's more now. And that's is just tell me, is that right or wrong?
All I'm saying is
that right or wrong?
Nike's been around. Nike's been around since God has been around. I don't care what nobody says. Correct. Let's continue on. People still buy other shoes, and times has changed. Nike's on their ass right now. Times has changed, but they've been around for forever.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the times. And you know what they're sticking with? The same shoe. You want to know why they're sticking with the same shoe? Because they understand they caught a fucking hit, the number one fucking song, and they cannot let it go. Because the moment they do, that's their ass. That's my point. Nike's the biggest point. I should have brought this up earlier. No one. If we take away Jordan, if Nike said we're done with Jordan, you think they're gonna be number one shoe still? What y'all think? If Nike stopped Jordan right now, are they going to be
if
the
they
number
stop making Jordan?
done? Like, that's it. We're not re-retroing shit. Will they be this top prominent brand?
You know what? I'm tired of just making ifs. I'm tired of having if statements because everything is just like an if statement. No, it is, but it's like we have so many. It's like we literally have nothing to prove at this point. And again, everything is opinion based, and I get that. But all I'm saying is, I never once did I say you were wrong. You're telling me I'm wrong. I'm saying you have an opinion. I respect that, but you're telling me I'm wrong, and I know I'm not wrong because it's my opinion, and it is right. And what I've said is a fact. Is back then it's an actual fact that back then it was less, and now today is more.
All right,
that's what I'm saying about
scarcity. If you can prove
fine, but it's just like what you're saying along with that is. That's not necessarily right, is what I'm saying.
How though? Because like I said, back then it was less, and there's a reason why. I'm just saying it was though. It was less. Now today is more. The fact that he's playing that shit with a PS5 controller is fine.
So check this out, right? This is my example. I think Nike's the best. Basketball's still arguable, right? Let's not use ifs. Let's get off the ifs.
Nike to go.
Let's get off the ifs, right? Yeah. Jordan is their top number one selling shoe, correct? Incorrect.
I don't fucking know. I don't keep up, but probably is.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna say series. Let me just say shoe, just series. You know what I mean? Okay.
Cool. More than likely.
Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. Okay. The only time another brands give, Nike a run for their money with Adidas, and they still are somewhat, but their prime time was when the Superstars came out. Correct?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Oh geez.
Now there's plenty of other sneaker brands out there. Testament to the times, right? Okay. Who do you think Nike was copying off of in the early times?
Bro, I don't know.
Okay, my point exactly.
Yeah.
There was no one to copy off of.
Yeah.
Now, Nike's this big hedge, this big on top building that it doesn't matter what they do. They're like, you know what? Let's bring back our old shoe. Let's bring back this. Let's bring back that. Let's bring back this. There were plenty of people Nike was copying off back then. They did not have the same resources, to your point, that people have today. So what I'm saying is, now it's easier to find if Nike or fuck Nike, any brand copies off anybody, those same resources we talking about, we can see the influence. And to me, that speaks way louder volume as a brand, as a person, as a producer, because now we can be like, this nigga sound like Pierre. We couldn't have said that about Scott Storch, because who are we gonna compare him to? That's my whole thing, and then I'm done. That's it.
My whole thing is back then it was less, today is more. I changed it to that.
Next topic,
and that's a fact.
We even got it next time. We done talked about this for an hour.
We did.
That's the funniest.
I kind of want to keep talking about it because
like, bruh, like your whole point, and y'all aren't even making like crazy like we're going at each other type of points. It's just what you're saying and how you're sticking to there was less back then, there's more now. And what he's saying is that like There's more
I'm
now,
basically
but the top tier of now is you put them back then, and they're killing the top tier back then.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
No, that's what he's saying. That's what I'm saying.
No,
He's saying.
that's what he's receiving it. That's look.
That's what I'm saying.
Basically, I'm saying. Listen. This basically was podcast. Please listen. I'm basically saying back then it was less, and today it's more. And all Luke is saying why it was that. That's basically what he's telling me. He's telling me why.
Now let's keep it to the basics.
Yeah.
You're saying I'm saying the why. That's not what I'm saying.
You're
There was never less. There was never less. We just seen less because the formula back then was sticking with this one person.
It was less.
No,
It was-
there wasn't.
So you don't agree it was less?
You just think niggas woke up and wanted to start producing all of a sudden?
No.
Like, hey, let's make a wave of producers. It never stopped. We just stuck to the. There was not less shoes even back then. It was just the fact that Nike was killing it. That's it.
It was definitely less just because on the it was definitely less just because at the time.
Hold on, Benji. We can argue this, but we can do this too.
Fruit Loops allowed
We can look it up.
more of people being
can
able
look it
to
up.
produce. Is that not right?
We can look it up.
Can we just look up producers of the 2000s and close this out?
What is that gonna do? Like,
Because
I don't get that
I just want
argument.
to see how many there are. Like,
Yeah.
And I feel like what we're gonna find.
There
out
are always
is that-
gonna be a lot of them. I know that, but let's. No, there's always gonna be a lot of like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about.
I mean, I guess what you're arguing
any
like
field,
inside of the industry, like actually producers
Yeah.
that people know.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's less producers that people know back
Yeah.
then than producers that people know now.
Yeah. Honestly, bro, hold on 1 second. 1 second.
I mean, it's
Just
literally the same thing. We're just taking it up. Like everything's just progressing up. Like
Yeah.
the producers that we don't know about now, we just know about them now. And the producers that were really great now, they're just astronomically great now. Really great back then, are just astronomically.
But you don't
great
think
now.
that like now with the way
Boy,
technology
this is a headache.
You don't think like now with the way technology is moving, like it has allowed more people to find ways to create in the art of music? Like I believe so.
I hate that you're saying that. 'Cause I feel like it's a testament. It goes against the art because to me,
I believe so.
Yeah, it was an instrument helping.
I believe
people.
Fruit Loops helped a lot. Like it allowed people to.
That's cool.
Like, I
That's
like
cool.
that. Like,
That's fine.
I'm not
YouTube-
saying it's
YouTube
wrong.
helped a lot of people too.
But even greater point.
What I'm saying is,
I'm not saying that's making them less though. I'm not saying that's making them less like a diluted version of whatever Scott Storch was. I'm just saying that back then you didn't have as many avenues to be that you had this is Scott Storch, and the guy down here had nowhere to make or sell his beats. So you wouldn't even know he was a producer. He could have been the greatest producer ever, but we would have never known because we would have never known. How is that not true?
because that's how Kanye started. He sold all his beats off the street and in the hands of people.
Yeah.
Correct. So
yeah.
he had that same
But
guy
how-
down here had the same thing that Scott Storch started.
But
with.
there's probably there was probably 1,000 Kanye Wests out there. I'm not saying they were as great as Kanye West, but there was probably 1,000 people selling their beats, but we don't know their names.
Yes.
I can go right now on YouTube and look up a something type beat, and then I'll just see the dude's YouTube channel right there, and I'll know his name.
I mean, that's not true either. There was definitely still forum websites. There was still different. Bro,
Bro.
just because the internet blew up doesn't mean there was different ways of the internet for them back then.
I get that. No, that is true, but it was less, bro. I don't care. Like it really was a lot less amount of people just because it was more. There's like you're able to do that shit. Like when was podcast created? Like I don't really know, but what would you say podcast was created? Like forever ago, right?
Yeah.
But like now we see it a lot more
Why?
because there's more resources.
That's not why.
There's more ways to do it. Like
That's why you think there's more, or you think it's because people seen the benefit that you can talk about your opinion and become successful? Because back then you couldn't, unless you were already somebody. Thank you.
I feel like it's both.
I feel like it's both.
don't
Honestly,
think so.
I actually agree with you. Like that is true, but I also feel that now people can just like, because if I wanted to start a podcast tomorrow, like let's say I like that shit, because there's people out there that don't know anything about mics. There's no people that know anything about a computer, but like they can go on YouTube like, how do I start a podcast? And there'll be somebody out there that will teach them how to start a podcast.
When I look at podcasts, and I mean maybe with podcasts, both isn't true, but when you think about where podcasts come from, when you think about like radio and stuff like that, that's why I say both.
I mean, of course,
And
that's
as far as like resources for people talking about stuff like what we're doing, like
and put it out on a platform that like anybody
was
can
like-
watch at any point. Like I'm a bad listen. Like,
before
listen.
it was more of a barrier with, you know, you have to get into radio.
Yeah.
Before there was like even podcasts.
Yeah.
When podcasts came out and you had all these platforms where you could just, upload a podcast, Podbean, RSS,
Bro,
whatever,
I found
whatever.
a podcast that girls talk about just kittens.
But my thing is, but you know why they're able to do that? And I'm
Yeah.
we're about to have an episode. It wasn't Kanye, but I'm gonna use Kanye
Yeah.
because people allow people to speak like that.
Yeah.
To my point, all I'm saying is like, yeah, you can now Google how to get a fucking podcast mic. That's cool. But those same people, if you take them back then, wouldn't have done this because there wasn't a Joe saying, hey, I made such and such $1 million off of saying what I want.
Yeah.
But there was, y'all can name y'all people, and I'm not sure if you can name too many. There's only a few people I know off the top of my head, Kanye West, Tyler the Creator, and also Joe Budden, to come out and say, hey, Tyler the Creator, I'm about to sit here and rap. You guys can do this too, because I'm about to grab my stool with my cast and just make money off you guys. Nobody was saying that. Because they were scared. I can't have my job be taken from me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Joe is telling you how many millions he's making.
Yeah, I mean, back then you had to really watch what you say. Now you can go on YouTube.
But that's my...
Yeah.
So
I agree with
what
your
you're-
point.
What
That's
you're
I'm
saying.
Okay.
What
But
you're
I'm
saying.
also saying that I'm right too. Like you have more resources.
if that's-
he never said it before. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I'm agreeing with his point.
Now I'm
Yeah.
on a different kind of question.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like, let's take like Joe back
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's take him and say like that Joe Budden is on.
Oh, we talking about Joe Budden.
Okay, but Joe Budden is on radio,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Talking the shit that he's talking, like, yo, I make all this money, whatever. Could someone like us had just gone out and just made ourselves a radio station back then? You think so?
Yeah.
Nah.
I
don't think
What
so.
do we have? I don't think y'all understand how much influence people really have out here, bro. Kanye.
Wait. Let
guess my
me
question
not
would
let
be
me
like
not
the
say
how.
no.
You say like big, like successful.
Like a big one or
There's,
like
there's always been radio
like a-
stations, bro. So
or like
even
a-
small ones.
Yeah.
You can
No,
keep one of
we
your own
could.
shit, yeah.
But like I'm talking about back then, like it definitely costs more to make a radio station. Nowadays,
Yeah,
Yeah,
with that.
and
today,
that's kind of like
Yeah.
where the resources
Yeah, yeah,
argument
but that-
comes
yeah,
from.
that's
to
what
me,
I'm
that
saying.
doesn't take away from the fact that it started with Joe influencing these people.
we're not
That's
saying
like,
it took away.
no, but that's what I'm saying. What I'm
Yeah,
saying is,
yeah.
if Joe said this, and
Yeah.
let's agree that he would have been just as big, back
Yeah,
then
yeah.
doing it. You know how many
That
people
I
went-
don't know. That's all up to
You know, but
yeah.
we've seen
Yeah.
plenty of hip hop documentaries, hearing Ku Klux Klan, hearing
Yeah.
Biggie, Tupac, all these people say how
Nigga
they
said
did it.
Ku Klux
Was
Klan,
it Ku Klux
Wu-Tang
We're
Clan.
going- yeah,
Wu-Tang
Wu-Tang Clan, my fault.
Nigga
Yeah.
tweaked on that
Yeah,
one.
Wu-Tang Clan. We're hearing. I was thinking about the fucking Hulu thing.
I know.
Yo, so we're hearing our rappers
Yeah.
tell us how to do it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
feel me? So now that they hear how to do it, we want to go do it. So I'm saying, if you take those same people, these radio casts, podcasts, that
Yeah.
told you how to, yes, there would have been a crazy influx in that position. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
People back then, and to their fault, I think, because you're on the radio, you can't say certain things, and nobody else talk about their money. We live in different times where it don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you go to a concert and someone says Charles Gambino, whoever, Migos, I done made $2 million off of y'all. Love y'all, fuck y'all. That's fine. Back then, that'd probably been top one news. Rapper talks about how much he makes off of somebody, basically making fun of them. You feel me? Now they telling us how he did it. We kind of want to do it too. You feel me? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like they kind of just go to hand in hand to really like argue one for the other, because like if Joe doesn't come out and start talking about the shit that he talks about, like if people don't start really like advocating like, yo, I'm making money off of this podcast thing, you don't really get like, people who come up with companies to allow other people to make podcasts so that they can make money off of people trying to make podcasts.
I mean,
what
we're
I
talking about,
feel like
it's just our generation, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I'm saying like that's why I said both, because I feel like one may have influenced the other, and then the other in turn influenced everybody else.
I don't know
and
which
then
one
it
is
kinda
bigger.
like-
I just know it's both.
yeah, I don't think it's like a. I think the people is the bigger part, because when you have like those faces attached, it makes it like, oh, people want to go and do that. But then I don't think it's necessarily. I think the people who are big influence and everything, they kind of bring in those companies who want to, get other smaller people to be able to do it, and then that's how we kind of like make our actual way into doing this kind of thing.
I'm watching this nigga play this game. There's no way in hell people telling me this is harder than COD.
It's not.
1,000 times. It's
Shit, ugh.
ever slow, and it's still not there. There's just no way. Oh,
This
Yeah,
shit
but
is.
Oh, play me in Warzone.
the thing is, on COD, 2 shots would have been dead, bro.
That nigga scared of Warzone.
Yeah,
that
them
nigga
niggas-
scared
niggas
as
is
fucking
dummy
Warzone,
scared.
man.
But that's my point. Y'all have longer. Oh, whatever. I'm not
This shit
starting
look
an
like a
argument.
kid game.
Whatever. Back to this. Benji already said he agrees with me. I just can't disagree with his point because it's an opinion. That's all he had to say earlier. I'm done with that. Moving on to the podcast
No,
shit.
you can disagree with it. Just can't call it wrong.
Wrong. My fault.
Yeah.
Wrong term. Wrong. What do I say? With the podcast thing, I'm a firm believer after just watching documentaries, and I think we're all here because of like who influenced us. And I think influences back then were mostly rap music. You feel me? I feel like we're all influenced by. Now we're able to be influenced by mad different people because they can say what they want, what they feel, whatever. And we see them sometimes for the best, sometimes for the worst, and we can still choose to align with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And I think that's definitely like a very, very important thing as a part of it. And that's kind of what I was saying. I think people saying what they want, saying what they're doing, and all that kind of stuff gave, when you think about like tech companies, the idea to like, hey, they're doing this. Other people can also do this, and we can make money off of other people doing this. And that's why I feel like both of those things are aligned as far as like, the resources coming out,
Resources
and
and
influence of people.
Resources and influence.
People influencing other people to want to do this, and then someone then providing the resources.
But they can't be no influence without resources. To me,
So they go hand in hand.
They do. I'm agreeing, but what I'm saying is, Kanye didn't have no resource when he wanted to make clothes. He still influenced niggas to make clothes. You're gonna find a way. If you're influenced, you will find a way. That's why I think it trumps it, bro. There's so many niggas that watch.
I mean, his resources, and it's not literal, because of course, he'd say I mean, he had money to help, and I know that money doesn't help everything.
He ain't got the answers. He had the money. He just couldn't get the
exactly.
people,
That's
bro.
what I'm saying. Like he had levels to get that me and you can't now. But of course, it took more. It took the influence as well.
But if I'm saying like, this is just. I think this is really opinion based. I think we all agree on that. But I just feel like, what's the shit? The Complex podcast that was one moment successful with Joe and everybody on it.
Everyday struggle.
Everyday struggle. I feel like that was revolutionary. It should have lasted. I would have wished it would last. I always wake up trying to watch this shit every day. Now I don't give a fuck. You feel me? And this Joe and
it's done now.
And there's plenty of other people. For what reason? I think they started that. Their influence. To your point though, I think this is a bigger discussion. What made Complex want to do a podcast? No one's asking that. What influenced them or what? Because this is a company. We ain't saying this some group of people like, hey, let's make a podcast. No, a company said make a podcast. Put y'all's opinion out there. Why?